But joining me now in the studio is the man with all the football knowledge to give his thoughts on the games ahead. Hello, Tony Mepham.
Hello, Rhian, and hopefully the weather's going to be good and we're going to have some games, but certainly there's quite a few ones that are catching the eye for tomorrow afternoon, and if the weather plays ball, we should have good football.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because there is a yellow weather warning in place for gale force winds, so there could be balls flying here, there and everywhere. Hopefully not. Okay, let's see what's coming up starting in the Canada Life Premier League. We have Douglas Athletic. They'll take on Pulrose. Laxey versus Moran. Russian versus Douglas Royal. St George's take on Old Boys. And St Mary's take on Ramsey.
We'll have a look at that Russian Douglas Royal first. That game's been postponed due to Douglas Royal having quite a few players in the under-18 game tomorrow. So they're allowed to call it off, and that one has been postponed to a later date. But certainly one that you've got to have a look at, because now we're into the second stage of the season. Points mean everything to the clubs that need them at the bottom of the table. And when you look at Pulrose really struggling down there in the bottom two, bottom three, and Douglas Athletic last week had a real sort of ding-dong game against Michael in the Cup, and Michael are Division 2, and they won it in the end on penalties, but unfortunately for them it had to go that far, because you would have expected them to win that one with a little bit more comfort. But fair play to Michael, they had a go at them. But St George's against Douglas High School Old Boys. When you look back over history with St George's sort of being at the top of the table, Old Boys were always that team that were able to do something against them. But I think it's a little bit different at the moment. Yes, St George's tomorrow won't have Jacob Cook, who's one of their star players. He's away with the Ireland team. But when you look last week, 14 goals against Governors Athletic. They're playing really well at the moment, and goals coming in everywhere. But a name that caught us last week was Nathan Gardy with 4 goals. So good luck to him again in another nail-biting game against Old Boys. St Mary's against Ramsey. St Mary's big pitch. They played against D&D last week and got the result that they wanted. But usual suspects will be there. Jack McVeigh, Frank Jones. Also last week, Carl Clark was nipping up to score a goal. But against a Ramsey team who I think will have a go, but it's going to be really difficult. A lot of good young players there. Laxey against Moran. Moran took a right beating. So hopefully David Prue will try and turn things around for that team. But Laxey will come back in, and Johnny Palmer's got a good squad, so he'll be hoping to win that game.
Moving on now to JCK Division 2, where things are hotting up very, very nicely. You've got Ayr, they'll take on Michael. Braddon versus Douglas and District. Governors versus Gyms. Maloo versus Ramsey Youth Centre. Onken will take on Union Mills, and St John's take on Foxdale. And you're pretty much spoiled for choice for games to watch in this division, as it looks like there'll be a decent amount of close ones this weekend. There's 4 matches between teams who are all at a similar standard and within like 1 or 2 points within each other in the league table.
Well, they are, and probably the one that you would look at is St John's against Foxdale. They're near neighbours. It's always a good battle between the two teams. St John's last week had a good battle against Peel, but lost out 4-1. But Foxdale, they had a great result against Maloo, and Jay Chatwood is a fantastic goal scorer, and he proved it last week with 4 goals. Stewie Morrison, who could tap him in as well, he got a couple, and Liam Cannon as well. So I don't think Callum Taggart's going to play in this game. I think he's still injured, so he'll be on the sideline running the team. But St John's have still got some really good young players there, experienced players in there as well, who can help those younger players. But I just wonder if that result for Foxdale last week is an indicator where this one might go, and I think it might be. So it's going to be a close battle, but I just wonder if Foxdale might just take the points. When you look at the other ones, Braddon struggled last week against Ramsey Youth Centre, and against D&D, who battled really well against St Mary's in the Cup. I would think that D&D will be overcome by Braddon. They're a strong team, and I think they need to win if they're going to stay in touch in the top 4, top 6 of Division 2. Ayr against Michael, as we said before. Michael did really well 7 days ago, but Ayr United, with those 10 goals that they got, and Dean Tate was the main threat. I think he got 4. Sean Kelly as well, Jamie Callister and Aidan Cummins. With those players there, I think they'll prove too strong. Onken against Union Mills, that should be a close affair, but I think Union Mills might just sneak that one. And Governors Athletic against Gyms, it's not very often you sort of maybe can look towards Governors Athletic to win a game. But against Jims, they've got a good chance on home soil as well. But I think Jims will just take it. And Youth Centre against Maloo. Maloo got beat last week 7-2. Rams Youth Centre had a great win. Darren Hudson's just signed for him. Hat-trick for him. You've got to go for Youthy.
Very good. And unfortunately, we don't have time to go through all the fixtures in depth today. We'll do that tomorrow. But let me just tell you what's going on in the Canada Life Combination 1. For most of these teams, it'll be the first match back after Christmas. So Castletown take on Peel. Old Boys are going against St George's. Douglas Royal versus Russian. Moran versus Laxey. And Ramsey versus St Mary's. And last but certainly not least, in the JCK Combination 2, there's plenty more close games. As Douglas and District take on Braddon, we've got Foxdale versus St John's. Jims versus Governors. Michael take on Ayr. Ramsey Youth Centre versus Maloo. And Union Mills versus Onken. And on Sunday, the first match of the new year in the Nedbank Women's League is being played at the Bowl when Royals take on Old Boys. What are your thoughts on that, Tony?
I think if you look at the league tables, it's quite convincing where this one should go, and it should go towards Douglas Royal. But Royal have qualified, as far as I know, for the Floodlit Cup. So I think it'll be a good day for Douglas Royal, but it's one of those, isn't it? They haven't played for nearly a month. It's their choice. They say that the Christmas parties come in and they're not going to be available. So Douglas High School Old Boys might try and catch them on an off day, but I don't think they will.
Old Boys have got Nikki Naden coaching them, so I'm sure she'll be coming out fighting. So
and they'll be a bit stronger and more organised, hopefully.
There we go. Anyway, thank you very much, Tony Mepham.
Thank you.